Hello, and welcome to my channel, Fascinating Facts. Today we will be knowing about some facts which will blow your mind. So let's get started. Issei Sagawa, also known as the Kobe Cannibal, was a Japanese murderer, cannibal, and necrophiliac known for the killing of René Hardevelt in Paris in 1981. Sagawa murdered Hardevelt and then mutilated, cannibalized, and performed necrophilia on her corpse over several days. In 1983, he was deemed unfit for trial by French medical experts and was initially held in a psychiatric institution before being deported to Japan in 1984. But on his arrival, he was ruled sane by Japanese authorities, who decided Sagawa's only problem was a character anomaly and that he did not require hospitalization. Japanese authorities were unable to get his case files from their French counterparts, who considered the case closed, leaving the murderer to walk free. Sagawa made no secret of his crime and capitalized on his notoriety, including with a novel-like memoir titled In the Fog, in which he reminisced about the murder in vivid detail. Despite the heinous details of the murder and his lack of remorse, Sagawa gained a level of celebrity and regularly gave interviews to domestic and international media in the years after his return. Sagawa lived out his final years with his brother, reportedly in a wheelchair after a series of health problems, including a stroke. But he displayed no apparent sign of remorse or reform, telling Vice in a 2013 interview as he looked at posters of Japanese women, "I think they would taste delicious." Sagawa died of pneumonia on November 24, 2022. Azaria Chamberlain was a 9-week-old baby girl from Australia who tragically lost her life on August 17, 1980, during a family camping trip when a dingo attacked her. Unfortunately, her body was never recovered. Azaria's parents, Lindy and Michael Chamberlain, informed authorities that a dingo had taken her from their tent. However, their account was met with disbelief. Lindy was accused of murder and endured a trial where she was wrongfully convicted, leading to more than 3 years of imprisonment. Remarkably, no evidence existed to suggest her involvement in her daughter's disappearance. Michael also faced a period of incarceration. In 1986, Lindy was finally released from prison after Azaria's jacket was discovered in an area inhabited by numerous dingoes. Following her release, Lindy received compensation amounting to $1.3 million for her wrongful imprisonment. On July 20, 1981, a 24-year-old man from Lakota Flintridge named David Allen Kerwin was traveling through Yellowstone's Fountain Paint Pot thermal area in Wyoming. He traveled with his friend Ronald Ratliff and Moosey, Ratliff's dog. They had no idea at the time that they were about to witness the most heinous incident of their lives. They stopped their truck in the middle of the day after arriving at their destination and went out to explore the springs nearby. Their dog Moosey eventually ran away from the vehicle as they went a short distance away from it. He then jumped into the neighboring Celestine Pool, a thermal spring where the water is always measured to be above 200 degrees Fahrenheit, and started yelping. Kerwin and Ratliff dashed over to the pool to save the terrified dog, and Kerwin's demeanor suggested he was about to dive into the hot spring. Some spectators attempted to advise Kerwin not to jump in, but he yelled back, "Like hell I won't!" and took 2 steps into the pool before diving headfirst into the boiling spring. Kerwin swam to the dog and attempted to bring it to land before disappearing underwater. He attempted to climb out of the spring after releasing the dog. Ratliff assisted in his rescue, suffering in severe burns to his feet. As the other spectators moved Kerwin to a nearby open area, hoping to provide some relief until the ambulance arrived. He was reportedly mumbling at the time, "That was stupid. How bad am I? That was a stupid thing I did." He had a 3rd-degree burn on his entire body. David Kerwin died the next morning in a Salt Lake City hospital after a night of agony. Moosey was also killed. Her body was never recovered in the pool. Raymond Theodore Robinson was a disfigured American man whose years of nighttime walks made him into a figure of urban legend in western Pennsylvania. Raymond Robinson was 8 years old when he was injured by an electrical line as he climbed a pole and reached for a bird's nest on the Morado Bridge outside of Beaver Falls. The bridge carried a trolley and had electrical lines of both 1,200 and 22,000 volts, which were responsible for the death of another boy less than a year earlier. Robinson survived, defying doctors' expectations, but he was severely disfigured. He lost his eyes, nose, and right arm. Robinson was so severely injured from his childhood electrical accident that he could not go out in public without fear of causing a panic, so he went for long walks at night. Local tourists would drive along his road in hopes of meeting the Green Man or Charlie No-Face. They became disappointed to see no such person. However, they passed on tales about him to their children and grandchildren regardless, and people raised on these tales are sometimes surprised to discover that he was a real person who was liked by his family and neighbors. He stopped his walks during the last years of his life and retired to the Beaver County Geriatric Center, where he died in 1985 at the age of 74. In 1994, near her South African home, Alison Botha faced a horrific abduction. Frans du Toit and Theuns Kruger took her to a remote area where they subjected her to rape, disembowelment, and near-decapitating throat slashes. Despite enduring 30 stab wounds and 16 neck slashes, Botha miraculously remained conscious. Left alone with sand and broken glass, she etched her attackers' names in case she died. Recognizing a chance at survival, she spotted headlights in the distance. Holding her nearly decapitated head and keeping her intestines in place, she staggered towards the road. Discovered by veterinary student Tian Eilerd, Botha was promptly aided by emergency services. One doctor noted the unprecedented severity of her injuries. Remarkably, she made a full recovery and has shared her story in over 35 countries.